iti pamene yapabala tikapeno pema atitokani mu street tisapeleka kuti vana tili nawo tisapeleka kuti skuli yamene yafuti tikutike isi tikutike kambaka skulu marisiti aya tipira wai kutikutisa.
It is not a very Merry Christmas for some Lusaka street vendors along the Central Business District in Cairo Road as Lusaka City Council this morning pounced on them.
Mona ino in December, malandro tivafuna ndrama zao. Maona ka na ife tifuna ndrama zao tipeleke bana ku maskulu. Manje ife bachipisha muno mu street tizankala bwanchi twai. Inagamba izale machito. Manje bakapi kwamba kulemba nchito. Bamba kupisha abantu mu street. Manje bakaza munga abantu bazatia chani.
Then without market atifumeni mufumeni monomba bala abatwala kuisa. Balange abantu market yeko bala abatwala. Yeko bala ya mkushisha.
As a development analyst and also a policy formulator, I understand that this issue of street vending is a very, very, very hot issue currently in the country, specifically Lusaka, Zambia. But one thing that people have to know is that this is a bipolar situation. It's two-sided. There's the issue of the vendor and also the issue of the government. So the issue here is, I'll start with the government. Removing people off the street or the vendors off the street is a very, very, very good move at any time of the day. It's a very good move, and all kudos to the government. I clap for you. It's a very good move. Reasons best known to yourselves, of which I know personally. But one thing that the government has to understand is that right now people are economically quagmired. Right now people are economically tattered, battered or tattooed. Therefore, removing them off the street would just be there to exacerbate their economic stamina, stance and status. Therefore, this move by government has to be done as a gradual process. No, there are a lot of issues to consider. One, look at the month that we are into. Arguably one of the most difficult months under the universe to any person, even be it for Dangote, Bill Gates, all those economic tycoons, bourgeois and PDGs, they would attest that this is a very difficult month to be into. Now you as council, you want to start making people to skedado or to run away or to skedu in this harsh economy. I say kabudo rejectamento to that, or I completely repudiate, or in simpler terms, I say no to that. Then two, government is saying that they will find places, suitable places where to take these vendors. Now the question is, how many of those vacant places do we have in these markets? Because from the information that I have, which is visible to the blind, even audible to the deaf, just like the biblical teke mene yufasin, we can't talk of taking people to Soweto. Soweto is already clustered. We can't talk of taking people to Kulima Tower. Kulima Tower, no places. We can't talk of taking people to City Market, no places. We can't talk of taking vendors to Soweto, no places. We can't talk of taking vendors to Komesa, no places. We can't talk of taking vendors to Kamwala, no places. And look at how a Brobignagian or Pantagruelian or humongous the number of vendors is. So government has to look into that issue perspicaciously. Currently, there are no jobs. People are in the informal sector, part of which is the street vending sector. So on any day and any time, government shouldn't come up with such draconian rules in trying to impoverish or make these street vendors vagabonds. Of course, vending is a very good venture, like I said in the inquest. We are vending at arcades. People are vending in an orderly manner. But this time around, chucking somebody off the street, we're talking of the date today, if I'm not mistaken, it's 28th December. Month and people ought to pay their rentals. Now, if at all you chuck them off the street now, then you expose them to new environments where they will start looking for new customers. Ish. It is a pitiable, dismal, pismal, and lugubriously unethical. So government has to look into that. I'm challenging government to look into that issue. Because if they fail the people, then political seppuku should be their portion. I come to the side of the vendor. The vendors as well, they have to understand that government is not just a small entity that will just wake up and impose certain decisions on people. No. They have reasons to why they're doing that. And some of the reasons, I'm sure they could be accrued to certain issues like diseases. We're talking of the month of December when the rains are very prominent. And we know the rains are a vehicle to a lot of diseases. We talk of cholera. We already have COVID. So now having a preponderant number of people clustered, in one place, that should be a worry to the government. The government is trying to ameliorate the livelihood of the people, the modus vivendi, how people live. Look at Lusaka, no parking space. You can't even pass very well. All the pathways are impassable. That is one reason. The second reason, government is trying to place people in befitting and legal places of trade so that the government can track all the levies that are coming from these people, because council is run based on the revenue that is generated from what people in the markets pay. But currently, we have a cabal or a hoi polloi or a number of cadres that are collecting that money. That money is not being accounted for. We just have people that are there to satiate their political ego. You see? People that are politically virgins, or what I call Viego intactors. So government has to make sure that they track this money and let it be to the benefit of every Zambian. Then the other reason could be that the government is trying to ensure that the city of Lusaka looks as clean as ever. The environment should be an environment that anybody and everybody will be living into without any hazardous exposures. Vendors have to understand that. So now my appeal is for the government and also the vendors to work in tandem and see how they can find an amicable way in which to settle issues. But government trying to chuck people off the street, as at now, I say kabudo rejectamenta to that. And also the vendors trying to fight the authority because of their Mephistophelian, fiendish or Machiavellian way of wanting to do things. I also say kabudo rejectamenta. Shalande fingi, I hope na mumfwa na hotel.